For years, I've been lucky enough to travel the world, but I always return to Cornwall. This county is famous for rugged coastlines and sweeping beaches.
This is cool.
But Cornwall has so much more to offer.
These mines get almost a mile out to sea. This is the wonder of the world.
Now I want to show you what this place means to me.
They're like sweeties.
From its rich culture
I love these here.
to its ancient history.
Hello?
I talk to those who love this place.
This is where I feel at home.
And as you'd expect, I celebrate great Cornish food.
We take this in, they're more than happy.
Along the way, I hope to inspire you with my own dishes.
A sensational pud.
What I discover is that Cornwall is different to anywhere else in the world.
And it's that difference that I want to try and explain and to tell you what Cornwall means to me.
What attracts me and many others to Cornwall is its stunning scenery. I know I'm stating the obvious, but in my opinion, it really is like nowhere else. I love its picture postcard locations and villages hidden away in the nooks and crannies of this rugged coastline. One of my favourite places is Port Isaac, a 14th century fishing village in North Cornwall, and home to renowned chef Nathan Outlaw. Nathan came to work with me as a young man, and since then, he's won 3 Michelin stars for his restaurants. Together, we share a passion for seafood.
I love the way he comes in on his little dinghy like this.
I like the way it just used the one oar, though. It's good, isn't it?
He's pretty cool, isn't he?
Yeah. He looks the part.
Yeah, he looks the part.
We're going fishing with his supplier, Callum Greenhall, to catch the centrepiece of any seafood platter, the lobster.
I'm just thinking that there can be few harbours in this world that are nicer to come out of than Port Isaac. It's a beautiful day, we're going lobster fishing. We're certain to catch some lobsters. All's right in the world, I say.
To ensure his stock is sustainable, he's helping a conservation programme run by the National Lobster Hatchery. They rear lobsters in captivity, which Callum then releases into the wild. Today he's bought a cargo of 400 3-month-old hatchlings.
Talking to Callum and other local fishermen in North Cornwall, they're all saying the same sort of thing when they've been out there. They're seeing better catches of lobster, and it's still as popular as ever on the menu as well, so that's a good thing.
Very good.
This is a stage where they actually look like lobsters. From this size up.
To protect them from predators, these hatchlings will be pumped directly to the seabed.
They'll go straight to the bottom and they'll crawl, because before this, obviously when they're eggs, they just float around in the ocean and be eaten by everything.
Yeah.
That's why they think there's so many lobsters up the northeast now, because the cod's gone and the cod was the main predator. This is apparently the new flexible pipes. I don't know what the old one was like. Jesus.
They quite quickly find somewhere to hide.
Find somewhere to hide, little crevice to hide in.
Yeah.
Hopefully we'll see them again in about 7 years.
I don't think people realise that when they have a lobster on their plate, how old they are. You know, customers certainly, when you tell them it's like probably 7, 8, 9 years old, they're pretty shocked that it takes that long for them to grow.
Just looking at those 2 lobsters, I mean, they're about 1 to 2 centimetres long. A lot of local fishermen used to think that really that would be such a tasty morsel for a fish coming by. Why bother to grow something to that tiny size? But apparently, the average lobster has about 10 to 20,000 eggs on it. Of those, less than 1% would survive. And apparently when they get to this size, 60% survive. So that's why it's so worthwhile doing it. The common lobster is found throughout British waters. The largest ever caught was landed in Foy, Cornwall. It was over 4 feet long.
Plenty of lobsters, just not the right size.
If you needed evidence of it working, it's all these small lobsters.
Incredible.
Very juvenile one.
Yeah, there you go.
Lobsters hunt at night, roaming about 2 miles from their burrows, feeding on crabs, starfish and mollusks.
There's little tiny lobsters. Heaven forbid, but my gosh, they'd be sweet.
Oh, they would be incredible. Unfortunately, we can't eat them at that stage, but they would be lovely.
So a small one. That part of the back, from the eye to that first line, that's the measure.
Callum measures the carapace. Anything shorter than 87 millimetres must be returned to the sea.
We've got a buried hen there, look.
Oh, yeah, look.
Buried hens are female lobsters carrying eggs. It's illegal to land them.
A male lobster has 2 penises, and it impregnates a female, and she's got 2 like sperm sacs. Once a year, she gets her eggs like this, and on each egg, she dips in the sperm sac and sticks it onto her stomach. And it obviously between this one is because it's only a small hen, it's probably only 10,000 eggs. But can you imagine that 10,000 times individually? Then they'll carry these eggs for 9 months, and next year, next spring, that's when they'll release them into the water. They'll go from black to reddish to like a green, and then they're gone.
What's that, 5 in there, isn't it?
Unbelievable, this. 5 lobsters in one pot. I've never seen lots of little ones like that.
2 of them might even be sized. Yeah, that's a nice one. Nice top lobster.
Really nice. Gosh.
Yeah.
It's working, isn't it?
It's incredible, because that's exactly what we want.
Yeah,
especially what we want to see anyway.
It's just on the money, that one.
The lobsters that we're getting here at the moment is fantastic condition. I've got a couple of nice dishes that I think you'll like to eat.
Great.
We're taking this fresh catch to Nathan's kitchen, where we're going to make a lobster risotto, a dish which helped Nathan launch his first restaurant in Cornwall.
I wanted to serve the best lobsters, and I knew the lobsters we've got around here are the best.
Absolutely.
The only way I could do it is by doing a risotto, because I could get the price point down, because no one would buy or have the confidence from a customer point of view to buy a whole lobster from me. This is where this dish comes from.
What I'm loving about this anyway is you're making the stock and the whole thing out of fresh lobster.
Yeah.
So.
Basically, it's your recipe, Rick.
Fine.
Nathan has humanely killed these lobsters before he cooks with them.
Just going to cook these lobster tails. So I put the claws and tails in separate times. Claws in. Give them about 3 minutes. Then I put the tails in a couple of minutes afterwards. So it's probably about 20 years since I cooked with you, working in a seafood restaurant. I always remember going to your office, and then you were there, and I said that the position came available for a junior sous chef.
Yeah.
I was only 21, and I said to you, I know that the position's come available, and I want to have a go at it. And you said, go for it then. And no one really gave me that sort of opportunity until that point. You know,
I could see how good you were, you know.
Their memories are the fondest memories I've got working in kitchens.
Oh, I love you.
Nathan has boiled the tail and claws for about 5 minutes. Now he removes the precious meat from the shell. He's keeping the shells for later. A lesson I learnt in my early days as a chef. A risotto is only as good as the stock. To make the stock, I'm roughly chopping the rest of the uncooked lobster. Adding tomatoes, red peppers, and fennel. And I've also added some orange peel, chilli, fennel seeds, and a star anise. Now it's time to add those cooked lobster shells.
This is going to make the most wonderful stock. It's going to be fresh tasting, sweet and fragrant. But it doesn't need to be cooked too long, this stock, because actually if you cook lobster stock too long, it gets this really concentrated, sweaty flavour, a bit like old tea, and we don't want that.
Next goes in a generous amount of white wine and 2 litres of fish stock. Bring to the boil and simmer for about an hour.
Risottos really are about the stock. I remember years ago being in Italy, in Umbria, and saying to the waitress in a small Agriturismo, what was on tonight, she said, oh, it's risotto, we've got a really good stock. Do you agree?
I agree, 100%.
So what do you think it is about lobsters that are so special?
Well, I think they're quite, like, mystical and magical creatures. I think, yeah, the way that they live, and being where we are on this North Cornwall coast, I'm being very, very biased, but I think the lobster here is the best in the world. It's at the top of the tree. You know, I think you've got lobster in the shellfish world, and you've got the turbot in the fish world, and then they're the two kings, really, you know. So,
well, I couldn't agree with you more, really. I mean, there's few flavours in this world that are up there in that degree of luxury as lobsters.
In the risotto pot, we've softened some garlic and onions with butter. When the onions have sweated, we add the rice and a good splash of white wine. Then a couple of ladles of the rich and sweet lobster stock.
Making risotto is, I don't know if Nathan would agree, but it's a really lovely thing to do because you're doing it by hand and by judgment. And what seems a very simple, and it is a simple process, really depends on your skill knowing exactly when to stop.
yeah.
Once the rice is cooked, the lobster tail and claws, which have boiled for 5 minutes, are added, along with a garnish of orange, leeks and herbs. Then freshly grated parmesan. And finally, a good slab of butter to give it a silky texture.
Shall we?
Hopefully I've cooked it right. Hopefully the grain's good.
The grain's perfection. I mean, that lobster is perfectly cooked. It's just a tiny bit, sort of very, very slightly undercooked, which is great. The stock is fresh, fragrant. I love all these green vegetables in there. It just makes it look more interesting. Mm. Perfection, perfection.
Well, it's been a joy cooking for you, Rick.
Oh.
And an honour as well. Been a long time, 20 years.
Yeah.
Let's make sure it's not another 20 years.
Okay.
Cheers.
Cheers.
Nathan's passion for fresh ingredients reminds me of how fortunate we are in Cornwall to be able to source good produce. Wherever I travel in this county, I meet producers, food heroes I like to call them, who are striving to fish, farm or grow the very best ingredients for their customers.
I think for restaurants, you're really lucky if you've got a local farmer to supply you, with veg particularly, really because the quality of the veg they can get you is just second to none.
Not far from Port Isaac is another former chef of mine who's growing some of the best veg in the county.
I just love talking to him, he's so enthusiastic. And today, we're going to see his carrots because he's over the moon about them.
Ross Geach runs the Padstow Kitchen Garden. He's truly Cornish. His family have farmed this land for over 150 years. Ross farms 5 acres, growing every vegetable and herb imaginable. His passion runs so deep that he's even called his dog Borage, after the herb of the same name and an essential ingredient in Pimm's. Most of his produce finds its way into local cafes and restaurants, including mine in Padstow. I need some ingredients for a dish I'm going to cook, a vegetable Greek casserole called a Briam.
These carrots, I'm really interested in seeing these. What are they then?
So we've got a basic orange one, we've got the yellow and we've got the purple.
Well, I'm planning a vegetarian-friendly, slow-cooked dish with them, really, based on a Greek dish called a Briam, so they'd be perfect.
They do have slightly different flavours. The orange is obviously original plain that you'll be used to. The yellow's got a slightly more parsnippy flavour, not too strong, not overwhelming at all. And the purples have a more earthy flavour. So I think if you mix all three together in your dish, it's going to work really, really well.
Yeah, that'd be lovely. Let's have a look at them.
Right, let's start with some orange.
Lovely carrots.
Then we'll go on to a yellow.
So do you ever get carrot fly and stuff?
Well, you'll notice I've got the leeks growing either
Yeah.
side of the carrots. And
Yeah.
in theory, it doesn't always work, but if you have the leeks and
Yeah.
garlic, onions, things like that, the scent should put the carrot fly off.
Oh, right.
See if you can taste a little bit of parsnip on the yellow.
These are great.
Right, I'll get some purple.
So you had to hand weed all these then?
Yeah, so we've gone spray-free, and all of this has been hand-weeded and pushoed twice. There's quite a lot of work, so sometimes when the carrots might be a little bit more expensive than you can get from a supermarket, you know, I've had 2 members of staff for an entire day hand-weeding.
That's where the cost comes.
There's the purple ones.
Oh, look at that. Oh, that's really good.
What do we need to get next?
I don't really mind. I'm just going to put everything that we get today into the dish because it's almost like a, you know, a sort of statement of early autumn.
Yeah,
Yeah,
let's go
good.
and find some.
Come on, Borage. They'll do nicely.
I was about to leave when Ross's dad, Ron, asked if I wanted to see his herd of rare breed pigs.
I'll show you a black sow, Rick. We call him the Cornish black.
The Cornish black, or large black, is Britain's only black breed of pig. It's thought to have arrived in Cornwall from China in the 18th century.
But with being only 135 sows registered in the country, we decided to go in for them to build it up a bit more. And it's nice tasting meat.
That's great.
But she's a placid sow. I come in there, she's got her young.
Oh, how sweet.
She had these yesterday morning at 7 a.m. On her own, no problem. I never had to help her or nothing. But she's a lovely sow. When she went with the boar, it's 3 months, 3 weeks and 3 days from conception and the birth.
Amazing, amazing.
When these little pigs are born, their ears are back over, and within a fortnight, the weight brings them forward, and then it covers their eyes like the mum,
Yeah.
and they kind of got to look sideways to see what they're doing.
This is a bit inconvenient. Did it irritate them? Are they bred to be like that?
It
Or?
originated like that. They don't mind. I'm very happy.
So what are the eating qualities like of...
Oh, lovely. Lovely meat. When they send off to the abattoir, sometimes we have the whole pig made into the sausage. So it's really good stuff. And what we do sometimes, when Ross is finished on part of his garden,
Yeah.
we fence it off and we put in some pigs, and they'll get all the roots, eat all the old bits of veg, and their manuring the garden for the next season.
Lovely thought that it's cleaning up your land and fattening up for nice sausages.
It's one of the best things going, I think.
This filming doesn't have to be too difficult. I mean, this is lovely weather, one of the best views in Cornwall, lovely farm, great produce. But I suppose I need to get on and do something, eh, Borage? Get cooking? Still, I'll finish my coffee.
I'm going to show you how to make one of the easiest and tastiest vegetable dishes ever. In fact, the best thing about cooking a Briam is that you can use pretty much any vegetable you have in the house. For my Cornish take on this classic Greek dish, lightly oil a casserole. Thinly slice a few waxy new potatoes. Season well. Then add your carrots, sliced long ways. Oil and season again. Then courgettes. Onions. Oil and season, you get the idea. Some broccoli. Sliced garlic and tomatoes. And lots of parsley. finish with a good splash of passata. Pop on the lid and place in the oven for about 1.5 hours. Just enough time to go for a walk. I've been cooking in the kitchen of Tresillian House, which boasts one of the best walled kitchen gardens in Cornwall. I know I'm known for loving fish, but over the years I've surprised myself at becoming a passionate veg man too. I'm meeting another veg aficionado, John Harris, the head gardener and custodian who rebuilt this 18th century garden 40 years ago.
Look at those pumpkins.
Yeah, pumpkin pie, pumpkin soup.
Vegetables grown by people like John make cooking much more enjoyable. Using fresh, delicious ingredients is half the battle to being a good chef.
Well, walking into this lovely kitchen garden, the thing that I first of all pick up is how many flowers, but I'm a bit of a vegetable man myself.
Well, the secret of all kitchen gardens was to have plenty of everything. And we do companion planting, where you plant your marigolds in amongst your potatoes and your carrots to keep the carrot fly away. And this is the secret of success. The brassicas there are living off the residue that the beans and peas left behind last year. Because if you feed the soil feeds you. Your root vegetables, your carrots and parsnips go down to extract the minerals, which we in turn eat and turns into vitamins. It's all about working in harmony with nature.
So how do you learn all this then?
I've spent a lifetime studying ancient civilizations when they first pulled crops from the ground. I mean, we work in harmony here with the moon. And
do you?
Oh yeah, everything is done with the phases of the moon. The moon affects tides, rivers and water everywhere. And it affects the moisture content in the soil.
Well, I know that a lot of leading winemakers cultivate their wine and make their wine by the phases of the moon.
Oh
and
yeah, that's right. And
I do believe you can tell the difference.
Oh yeah, I swear by it. Well, I've practiced this now for as long as I've been in gardening. The new moon is when the tides and rivers start to rise. That is when the moisture content in the ground, and that's when you plant all the seeds that produce their crop below the ground. If you pick it in the period of a full moon when there's maximum moisture, moisture is juice, juice is taste. It worked for our ancestors, and this is the end result.
You're 80, right? You're still talking as enthusiastically as you, I would guess, 40 years ago. What does gardening mean to you?
I'm the luckiest man in the world. I'm living a dream. I mean, most people at my age have been kicked into touch long ago. But I come to work at 6:30 every morning, and I walk around and I see something different every day. Whether it's the first daffodil popping through or the first apple to pick, I never ever get tired of it. The day I can't fulfill that ambition, it's time to say, well, I'll hang my boots up.
I think you may drop in your boots, to be honest.
Well, I've always said, dig a trench and then drop me in there.
Be good for your leaks.
Yeah, yeah. But no, I've been lucky. I've been looked after. I've had a wonderful wife. Looked after me, really great. Live well, and what more do you want? You know.
I don't think you do, really.
You know, everything here has got a special place in my heart.
Nothing beats that amazing smell when you walk into a kitchen knowing that something's been bubbling away in the oven for a while. It's even better when you know exactly where the ingredients came from. Flipping good. I wish Ross Geach could be here to sit down and try this with me, because I think it would show how easy it is to do justice to his wonderful vegetables. And I think
It's a bit like fish with vegetables. The simpler you keep them off, and the better. And here it's just throwing everything in a pan, and with some oil, bit of seasoning, some herbs. I mean, it's a great family meal. Just put that down on the table and tell them all to get on with it. Now that's a load of rubbish, water divining, surely.
I'm a water diviner, and I can track water also anywhere.
We're just going to go a bit water divining. I don't really believe in it, but I think if anybody could prove it to me that it works, it would be John. So I'm quite excited about this.
I want you to watch day 2 rod. Once they cross right over, you have now found water.
Unbelievable. So what's going on there then?
It's a magnetic pull.
Amazing.
Right, come back here, you can do it. Now
Okay.
I'm going to teach you. YTS, boy. Now, put that one there and put your thumb and grip it as tight as you can. And same there. And just point. That's right.
Right.
Now down slightly. Take your time and concentrate on water.
Good Lord. I'm really trying to stop it. I really am.
You weren't doing nothing.
No, I'm not doing anything.
No. I know exactly where the underground stream is there. And that water you're finding is about 80 foot down.
Unbelievable. It's really, right,
Yeah.
trying to, stop them moving. And they just moved.
Yeah.
So what is this, just a bit of
A bit of copper pipe, and where the copper's mined at the ground. He can now take up a new occupation when he retires from chefing. He can become the county water diviner. Now you're even more special than you was, aren't you?
Rick Steiner, water diviner.
Yeah.
Join me next time as I continue my journey across the ancient land of Cornwall.
They're actually trying to take across the Tamar elephants, and she plunges over the back of the boat.
Welcome to Cornwall's first sea buckthorn orchard.
Ow!
It is very prickly.
They are incredibly sour.
Call this one sea buck duck.
I had a lot of pasty-shaped burns.